All right, welcome back to the bench. And today we've got three items here. We've got the finished realistic TRC 427. So I went ahead and recapped and aligned this radio that I had shown you in my last video. And it works great. And also, here is the other one that I got in from eBay, which also has now been completely recapped, repaired, and realigned. This one has got had two issues, main issues, and that was the signal meter was just stuck solid, so I replaced that with a new meter. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, so I'm waiting on a 16 ohm 4-inch speaker. The speaker here is blown, so I'm just waiting on a new one to come in, and I'll put this back together, and then this one will be done as well. But yeah, this one was another $20 or so eBay radio, and these are fantastic little AM CB radios. What I really like about these, I don't really care about a mic gain pot on the face, but having a tone pot is awesome. And this is to me is what distinguishes these from other model realistic TRC radios from this era. Like I guess a good example would be like a 422, which is a slightly smaller chassis. No tone control, which I really love. So, and I'm probably going to get more of these little TRC 427s. I really like them, and you can get them dirt cheap. And as long as you're willing to go through and do your due diligence and repair and recap them, they're just fantastic little radios. So yeah, that's all this one's waiting on. It's already been recapped all the way through. So just waiting on the speaker. But today's video really is more about another eBay radio that I got, which is this Cobra 146, and doesn't really look that great. And the seller said that this radio doesn't work, and I don't know. I haven't even opened it up yet or anything to see, but I do know the signal meter's stuck. But that's all I really know about it. So I'm going to power it up today and see what's going on with it, and we'll evaluate and see what we want to do with it. So just stand by. I'll get this thing disconnected here and hook this up, and we'll see what it can do. All right, so we got it hooked up to power, and we're just going to turn it on with just 1 amp over there of available current, because we don't know what to expect. There's nothing loose rattling around in there, so that's good. Let's get these set up where we want them. RF gain all the way up, squelch all the way down. We'll just turn it off. All right, so let's go ahead and just flip it on. All right, so we're not drawing any power off the power supply right now. That's good. Let's see what happens when we turn it on. All right, drawing about 0.179 amps. That's good. Okay, so we got her into the HP 8920 over there. So it'll be on channel 14. Let's go to channel 19. And are we receiving anything? Oh, I'll tell you what. Probably need to put our... I'd probably help we start with this. All right, I hear absolutely nothing. Oh, nope, that's not it. Okay, so it doesn't look like it receives. Okay, well, I'm going to move this anyway. Let's put this over here. All right, I hear no tone at all out of our radio. Yeah, it would seem like receive is dead. Okay, so let's go to transmit. And let's see if we can just get at the dead key. We're going to raise up our power over here. All right, so still drawing 0.2 amps just sitting here. Let's just try to dead key it. See what happens. Nope. Okay, so she does nothing in receive or transmit on AM. What about lower sideband? Will she key up? Nope. About upper sideband? Nope. Nothing at all. How about channel 1? Nope. Channel 40? Absolutely nothing. All right, let's go back to AM. And we'll go back to channel 1. Let's change our receive channel here to 26.9650. All right, that should be an S9 right there. She's not receiving anything at all. Nope. Not receiving a thing. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Let's pop her open and see what we're looking at. All right, we'll be back. All right, here we are back with the covers off. I got the speaker disconnected here. And I have noticed that somebody's been in here before. These two 1000 microfarad caps have been changed out. But other than that, it looks like it's pretty stock. The clarifier is still locked. I don't see any missing transistors, maybe pointing to a cut limiter or anything like that. Shining a light under the board, I don't see any solder connections that look like they're suspect. So she is going to need some more diagnosing. So we'll get back to it and see where it leads us. We'll be back. All right, we're back. We're just checking a few frequencies here in the PLL alignment, and I've got nothing for receive offsets off of test point 3 up here at all. As you can see, it's just it's not really much of a reading. I shouldn't be seeing that. So I'm going to check also on the transmit side, transmit offset pods. I think let's see if I can get on it. I think that's TP5 right there. Let's see if we're right. Yep, that's TP5. All right, so we should be 10.69 something. 695. What are we in here? Let's go to AM. Let's key it up and see what we read. All right, so I'm not reading anything there. Not really. Let's go lower. Key up. All right, so now we got something there. What about upper? Do we have an offset? Oh, see, now there's one there. That's weird. Key, unkey. Yeah, she's definitely got some issues. My guess is she's got probably multiple short caps. That would be my guess. So I might, this radio is worth saving. I mean, I've got a signal meter I can stick into it. We could probably clean up that switch to get those, that LED, channel LED illuminated better. Might just go ahead and recap this. It looks like it's got more than one problem. That would be my guess. So we might go ahead and just do that first and then see what kind of troubleshooting we got to do after the fact. Who knows, we might get lucky and we fix transmit and receive problem just by replacing all these old electrolytics. But we might do, let's do a couple of voltage checks off of the regulator first and just see what kind of power we have out of there. And then maybe we'll get lucky, maybe we won't. We'll just go straight to recapping it. All right, we're back once again. And what I've found so far, chasing down with the schematic here. Now, using a schematic like this is not near as efficient as using a SAMS manual, but there's no SAMS manual for these 146s or AX144s, AR144s. This is what we got. So that's what we're using. We have no 8-volt power rail. So if we go here to TR35, if you can see that or not, right there. We go to TR35 there and get on the collector side, which should be 8 volts out, according to the service manual. We are only at 4 volts out. So there is, I think, our major problem. Another regulator problem. So I do have another 146 that is supposed to be a parts chassis. It's actually a decent 146, just missing covers and doesn't look very pretty. But I'm going to pull the 473 PNP out of that one, and we'll see. We'll stick it in here and see if that fixes our problem, and then we'll be back. So give me a minute. All right, so we're back here. We've got TR35 out, and here is the one I just pulled out of there. And this is the one from the donor radio that I know works. So we'll go ahead and stick this one in its place. And we'll fire it up and we'll see if we get our 8-volt rail back. And hopefully it's not something along down that 8-volt chain, like another shorted cap or something that is bringing this down. It's not overheating though. It's not getting hot at all. So I'm assuming that it's bad. So we'll find out. We'll be back in a minute once I get this put in place. All right, so I wish I could say that the replacing TR35 here fixed the problem, but no. It is still 4 volts out on the collector, which means that something else on that entire 8-volt rail on this radio is shorted to ground. So I'm sure it's probably another electrolytic cap. Just got to start systematically going through and seeing if I can figure out what's on that rail. And like I said, you know, if you watched my last video with the realistic TRC 427, you know, I chased that problem down to the exact same thing this radio looks like it's going to have is a shorted capacitor and basically, you know, taking out a regulator. So this looks like it's going to be a mirror image of that other troubleshooting. I mean, obviously different radio, but same basic problem. So let me start hunting around, and we'll see if we can find a shorted cap somewhere off that rail. So we'll be back. Okay, so upon further troubleshooting, we have discovered here, I'll tilt this back, that right here, D50, which is a 7.5 volt zener diode, right there off of T35 and T34, is shorted. And that's this little guy right here. She is shorted. And if we look on the schematic over here, see if we can zoom in. Let's see, I'm in the wrong spot. There we go. You can see TR35 here and TR34 and D50 sitting there right at the heart of that regulation circuit. So yeah, that's dead shorted. So let's go ahead and replace that. I've got other zeners here. I've got 7.5 volt zeners. I'll stick one of those in there, and then we will see if that brings our 8-volt rail alive. I was really assuming it was going to be another shorted cap. I was kind of surprised to see that zener had failed, but sure enough it has. So let's go ahead and see what we can do about that. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, here's our new zener here we're going to stick in, and hopefully, I don't know if I can do this with one hand. We'll give it a shot. Hopefully this fixes our problem. Get it in there. Yep. All right. Up. Kind of a pain to do when you're trying to do it with one hand. All right, we'll go ahead and solder that in place now that we've got it down in there, and then we'll see what happens. We'll get this soldered in. You can see it there on the back side. We'll get that soldered in, and then we'll go from there. All right, I'll be back here in a minute. Okay, we're back with the 146, and we have our 8-volt back on TR35 there. So we're on TR35 collector, and there's our 8 volts. So we have at least reestablished our 8-volt rail, but she still doesn't receive, she still doesn't transmit, but we do get a key light now. Let me show you. Move that out of the way. I do get a key light now, but it's flickering. So it's trying to do something. It's just not doing what we want it to do. So more troubleshooting. It's kind of now to the point, now that we reestablished that 8-volt rail, is it an issue with somebody has been in here before trying to repair this and just got the alignment completely out of whack? Or is it another shorted cap somewhere? Who knows? I don't know how long I'll sit there and keep troubleshooting, especially if it just gets down to more shorted caps. We'll see. I'll just see if I can run through maybe the PLL alignment at least and see if I can get anywhere with that now that we've got that 8-volt rail back. And then we'll go from there. So we'll be back. All right, so the hits just keep coming with this radio. Looks like we have also a bad 10.6975 crystal that goes here. So we're testing it right now using our arbitrary waveform generator there. So we're generating 5-volt peak-to-peak signal and at 10.6975 megahertz. And we're hooked up here. And then we're looking at up there on our scope, and it's like a 380 millivolt peak, and looks terrible. See that? All right, so what we're going to do is I got another crystal here. We'll pop this out of there. See if I can do this with one hand. I don't know if I can. We'll try. We're going to hook up a different 10.6975 megahertz crystal. All right, so we're hooked up there. I'll turn that back on. And look at the difference up there. So we got a bad crystal. All right, well, luckily we have a couple of those as spares, so I'm going to swap that out too and see if we can continue on with the PLL alignment. So we'll be back. All right, we're back again. A little bit more troubleshooting done, and I've noticed something odd. So here we are on channel 20. I was trying to do the PLL alignment. What I originally thought was just an erroneous output over here in the frequency counter is nothing but. So here we are. This should be channel 20, and channel 20 should be reading right now 16.510 megahertz, and then mixed with the intermediate frequency at 10.695 should yield us, what is that, 27.205 megahertz. But there is our frequency, 21 basically 630. So if you take 21.630 there, and then add your intermediate frequency to it, 10.695, you end up with 32.325, and voila, she's receiving. And that's not a one-off. So if I go to channel 19, and I can do this across the entire 40 channels. So on channel 19 here, if I can focus back in, we got 21.610 basically, or an AM. Doesn't have to be dead balls on. So 21.610 plus our intermediate frequency, 32.305. And if I change this to 305, and then there we go. So yeah, there's that. So I got to figure out why in the world my PLL has a solid output, but absolutely wrong. It's almost like it's modded somehow, but I don't see any evidence of that. But I do see evidence that somebody has been all over the bottom of that PLL. What is that chip? I can't remember now. A 2824. So it looks like somebody, again, I think somebody was just troubleshooting in here, hunting around for whatever they thought the problem was, and did some resoldering, reflowing a solder somewhere around there, around the chip and stuff like that. So, and I think they were probably trying to chase down that Well, what was initial the same problem, no transmit, no receive, but didn't realize that the 8-volt rail was missing. So yeah, so that's where we are right now. Strange as it is, it's receiving just fine, but just completely off frequency. So back to the hunt. Let's figure it out. Okay, here we are. So we got channel 19 here. Let me turn it up. And then you hear that? There we go. So we are on channel 1927.1850 megahertz. So what was it? Let me turn this back down. So basically in this particular PLL circuit, TR20, let me see if I can find it on the print. I can show you. Let's see. Right here. Let me see if I can step back and zoom in. Do we see it in here? Yeah, right here. TR20 here is your VCO in this particular PLL circuit, and that was our problem. Not right there. And here we are. Here is the little guy. Right there. I can probably zoom out now. But yeah, so this was the problem. And this could be because it's got the old glue on it and it got corroded. The leads got corroded. I don't really know. Or it just decided to give up the ghost on its own. But yeah, that was the issue. So now we have worked out the PLL issue as far as receive anyway. Have I tried to transmit on it? No, I have not. I still have no receive light. But that's okay. I know it does work now. So yeah, I don't know how many problems could this one radio have. Holy cow. No wonder it was on eBay. Somebody tried to fix it and just gave up on it, and then maybe they just sold it to some eBay seller, and then he just turned around and sold it to me. He sold the lemon to me. But hey, we're working it out, so that's all that matters. So yeah, so we worked out the 8-volt rail problem. We worked out now this PLL problem. So we've got that worked out, and I don't know if it's going to receive or not. I guess we can try to see if it's got any output now, since we've got a properly aligned PLL section. All right, so we're on channel 19. We're still in AM mode, and we'll just go ahead and let's give it some juice or some current over there in the power supply. Let's just see what happens when we key it up. Oh, look at that. We got her fixed. So now she transmits and receives. Fantastic. All right. Well, I guess at this point we'll have to just, I don't know what we're going to do now. I guess we'll see if it works in, let me just set some stuff up. Let me get some more stuff turned on here. I got a lot of stuff turned off since I was really just basically using a multimeter and a frequency counter. So let me get some stuff turned back on, and we'll look at its waveforms. I guess that'll be the next thing. See what its AM waveform looks like now that we got it transmitting again, and then we'll look at its see how it'll do on sideband. So we'll be back. All right, so here we go. We are on the 146 here, and we've got our setup. We've got a 1 kilohertz tone on the arbitrary waveform generator over there at 30 millivolts, and we're set up, and we're going into the RF sampler, which will get us into our scope, and we've got our tone on. All right, let's see what happens. You can see that. Look at that. So we have a dead key. We've got our 4 watts out on the nose, and we have no modulation at all. So you know what? Why would we have modulation out of this radio? I mean, for everything else that's been jacked up in this radio so far, why would modulation work? So we've had the 8-volt rail was down. Oh, I forgot about the X2 over here. The what was it? The 10.695 megahertz or 6975 megahertz crystal was bad. We had a bad VCO basically in our PLL circuit, and now we're back to receiving, and we got a dead key, and that's fantastic, and we got no stinking mic audio. So yeah, awesome. All right, well, I did not mean for this to turn out to be a troubleshooting video that just went on and on. I don't think I've seen a radio this jacked up in a long time. This thing was, or I guess is a basket case. But hey, I mean, it's coming back to life. I mean, we started out with basically nothing, no transmit receive. Now we're back to receiving and transmitting, just no mic audio. So let's start going down that road, and we'll see where that leads us. So we still got to replace the signal meter. That's bad. I mean, that's small potatoes. Let's get this mic audio issue worked out, and then we'll see. Oh, just so you, in case you wanted to know, I was mentioned in the last video that, so TR20, I said, which is this guy here that was in place down here, that's actually sits right here. So this is the new TR20. It's just a 2SE1675 is all it is, and that's right there. All right, we're back with the Cobra 146, and we've got our modulation issue worked out. So basically, we had a issue with some glue that had completely hardened that was located, let's see if I can zoom in here, right here. So this is TR26 right here. This is part of our modulation circuit, and the glue was down here in between this area, and it had gotten completely rock hard. And I generally don't mess with removing glue unless it is rock hard. If I find it's rock hard, usually it's going to cause a problem. If it's not rock hard and still gummy, you can stick your tool into it, then it's not an issue. But this area down underneath here, down here at the base of TR26, and this resistor here and this cap here, and this resistor was just rock hard. And when it becomes like that, it gets to be conductive, and sometimes it becomes a conductive, and that's what happened here. So it basically was shorting out everything here together. And also, weirdly enough, this capacitor, you see this is a new capacitor, this is C115, it wasn't even there. There was just a couple of leads sticking out of the PCB, but no cap. This is a 330 picofarad cap, I think, and that is, let's see if we can find it on a board here, or on the print. Hold on, there it is, up this way. Is that right? Am I looking at the right place? Yeah, right here. So that's, this capacitor right here was completely gone. So once I got all the, I pulled TR26 here out, cleaned it all up, and it tested fine. And then I put a new 330 picofarad cap in right there, and then everything was great. So we're going to go ahead and key up now. So we're on channel 19 still, we're in AM. And let me get up here on the, we'll see our key light. And there we go. So there's our waveform. So yeah, so we got her fixed. So, wow. I guess we'll just really just call it quits from there on this video. So what all do we have that were issues? So we had the TR35 back here, 8-volt power rail, shorted out by this D50 zener diode that had failed and shorted. And we got that corrected, got our 8 volts back. Then we ended up with a bad X2 crystal here. Then we had the VCO issue over here. And then we had the missing capacitor, God knows why. And all the corroded glue down there, or conductive glue, hardened glue at TR26. So that was our modulation issue. So now she receives, she transmits, and I've still got to go in and replace this signal meter and figure out why that receive light's not coming on. But basically, that's about it. I don't want to drag this video on anymore. I just really, I don't, like I've said in my last video, I don't do a lot of troubleshooting and repair videos because I think they're kind of boring, but some people like that. So I figured, with this radio, knowing when I got it off eBay that it was probably not going to work, and the seller was accurate in that description. It sure didn't. So I just wanted to show you my process of how I go through and troubleshoot something. So at this point, what I'll probably do is do the signal meter, figure out this light, and then I'll go ahead and recap the radio. I mean, the radio is all stock. There's nothing in here that I can see that's been modded at all. It just had a lot of issues that you know, and ended up being on eBay for sale. So and somebody definitely had gone through and tried to fix the radio. It was obvious from, like I had mentioned before, around the PLL circuit, it looked like a bunch of traces had been resoldered, that kind of thing, reflowed. And then these two caps back here have been replaced. Oh, I had also along the way found this cap here was way out of value. I think one or two down here were way out of value in my troubleshooting of the initially of the 8-volt rail, before I realized and traced back and realized it was that D50 zener diode that was the issue. So yeah, so there's a couple other caps in here that I'd replaced. These two had already been done by whomever. But now I'll go through and I'll recap the whole radio, and that's about it. Yeah, I mean, it's all functional. And I'm not going to bore you with anything else. You know, you want to look at stuff like sideband linearity, all that kind of junk, you can watch one of my other videos. We'll just keep this one, we'll close this one out. So if you watched this far, thanks for watching. And you know, this is the fun part of the hobby, is, you know, getting something like this broke and figuring out why, and going through and making it work again. So it was fun doing it. Now comes the real work, I guess, the part that I really don't enjoy doing, the recap and doing the little things, the things that keep it from working, like the, you know, no transmit, no receive. That's always fun to track down. Now just having to recap a whole radio is just a bunch of work to me, and that part kind of sucks, but we'll get it done. So anyway, 73s, and we'll see y'all next time.